YouTube, what up? Right now we got my boy SwishOut. How Kobe absolutely destroyed the Kevin Durant problem. I know exactly what the fuck he talking about. Cause you know this Kevin Durant thing, you know, he wanting out and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to get his own, he's trying to, you know, KD trying to build his own legacy somewhere elsewhere, you know what I'm saying? And you know the social media era and shit like that, motherfuckers gonna be clowning him no matter what he chooses to do. There's always gonna be critiques, you know what I'm saying? But people don't talk about Kobe enough with the accomplishments that he did make. You know what I'm saying? Did he get all the MVP awards that he should have gotten? No. Do a lot of people be hating on him? Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Do people be, it's like people be trying to, look, Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. That nigga was my idol. He was my first idol, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he the one who made me fall in love with basketball, bro, straight up. So when niggas be talking shit about him, I don't even listen to that shit, like as far as like the analysts and shit like that, or when a nigga just talking shit online and shit, like I get mad, bro. Cause Kobe is the perfect example. Like people be like, man, he just rode Shaq nuts, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, woo, he got lucky by the rings and shit. Like nigga, he doing it. How all these niggas is trying to build their own team and shit and try to win on their own. Kobe did that shit twice, back to back. You know what I'm saying? Would have been 3 times if, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, but he just crazy, bro. That nigga the GOAT to me. If LeBron yo GOAT, I understand. If Michael Jordan yo GOAT, I understand. But Kobe Bryant is the one for me, bro. And I just don't, I feel like a lot of people be doing a lot of hating and don't be trying to appreciate his career, like for real, for real. I ain't talking about that fake love bullshit, none of that shit there. I'm talking about this nigga Kobe Bean Bryant, bro, one of the hardest working motherfuckers to ever step on the court. One of the talented motherfuckers who stepped on the court. Like, bro, let's keep this shit real, bro. People always talking about he just a poor man's Michael Jordan. Who else? Did you see Michael Jordan fucking, he'll grab the ball like right in front of the rim on the fast break and do the fucking 360? When have you ever seen Michael Jordan do a 360? Or a fucking windmill off 2 feet doing a windmill? Never. That's Kobe Bryant, man. I just be hating it like, yeah, did he model his game a little bit after Mike? Of course, he one of the greatest. But don't act like Kobe is, nigga, Jordan wasn't pulling up from 30 and, anyway, I just had to say that shit real quick. But shout out to SwishOut. He don't never copyright my stuff, none of that, and I love his videos. If you want the link in the description to watch the original video, I will do that. But shout out to my boy SwishOut. Let's go ahead and get into this shit, man.
The Kevin Durant madness is finally over. Josiah and Sean Marks just damn near saved the NBA and called the bluff of one of the biggest stars we have. Now, through this whole fiasco, I kept hearing the comparisons between this terrible trade request and Kobe's back in 07. And honestly, the similarities are almost scary. Now, one major difference, and quick spoiler alert.
But in 07 though, them niggas was trash as fuck. Like when Shaq left, and with the Miami and shit, the Lakers was ass. Like garbage. Like complete garbage. You know what I'm saying? People like Kobe couldn't lead his teammates to nothing. Look who he had. You know what I'm saying? In the tough Western Conference. But people don't talk about that shit though. They always like to look at the numbers and shit. Don't really understand the whole concept. You know what I'm saying?
Because trust me, this video will most definitely take you back. KD is going back to an upgraded team, literally with 2 All-Stars. Kobe most definitely didn't. But with all that being said, Kobe did request a trade after being punished in the first round in his prime as the 7th seed, just like Kevin Durant. Kobe was also fighting a Shaq narrative that he couldn't win without him, just like KD is with Steph. And most importantly, and something that I don't feel like people are talking about enough, Kobe was constantly compared to a GOAT figure, somewhat like KD
since he was fucking 17, bro. Since he was 17. Second year in the league, bro. He wasn't getting no playing time the first 3 years. The coach was hating on him, bro. If Kobe would have been playing, if he would have been starting from the get-go, bro, he probably would have been second all-time in scoring, realistically. Like, Kobe's that dude, bro. Like, people don't like to talk about, you know, I love LeBron. As I got older, I appreciate LeBron and longevity and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But people don't like to give Kobe the same credit for his longevity. You know what I'm saying? Like,
today's video is sponsored by Raycon.
Finding
a solid
that should be hurting me, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. RP my nigga Kobe, man. I was watching some
It's extremely tough and awareness mode, which allows you to in my description box below.
I was watching that shit. Well, listen to it. I be at work listening to the podcast and Kobe interviews sometimes when I, you know what I'm saying? I miss my nigga, bro. God, man.
Raycon for always looking out for the channel.
I wish I would have been able to meet him, bro. God. He just like me.
I'll tell you this, no way in the world organization could explain trading away Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. You got some explaining to do, no question about it. Sit on Kobe Bryant and force him to continue to wear a Laker jersey. You do not trade the best player in the world.
Mike, let me tell you something right now. The Los Angeles Lakers, it will take them years to recover from this, if not decades, if you trade both of them.
For real.
It's crazy how history tends to repeat itself in different forms. Right now, Kevin Durant is the undisputed villain of the NBA. 15 years ago, that was Kobe. Now, Kobe was never trying to escape a championship roster like I felt KD just was. The Lakers were a complete disaster. He had legitimate reasons.
Thank you.
That messy Shaq divorce, the Lakers roster was in shambles and management didn't know what the hell they were doing. An old Karl Malone retired after that extremely messy year with the Lakers for a multitude of reasons. Gary Payton and Rick Fox were traded for Chris Mim, Jermaine Jones, and Chucky Atkins. And of course, Shaq. He was moved in a deal for Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, Brian Grant, and 2 picks. This, of course, would leave big gaps in any roster, not to mention Phil Jackson was gone. Immediately after that season, they went from miraculously making the finals with all that turmoil they had within their roster to having their worst record in over a decade. Then, as teams often do when big-time decisions look instantly bad, they panicked and they made an even worse decision. Desperate to replace Shaq with anything. Mind you, this was still kind of a big-driven league. They reached all the way in the gutter and grabbed Kwame Brown after his confidence was completely shot. I guess I kind of...
Kwame Brown was hooping with Michael Jordan, and he went to the Lakers with Kobe, bro. And that's 2 niggas you do not want to be teammates with if you ain't a dog. If you ain't got that dog and you wear that picture, that, you know, that new meme picture where motherfuckers got an actual dog in a rib cage. You know what I mean?
Understand what Mitch Kupchak was thinking. The Lakers always had a tradition of having a star big, and Kwame Brown was only 22 with a lot of potential, I guess. But what made that trade look even more horrendous was the fact that they lost probably the best piece they got from
the Shaq trade. Let me like the video, man. Shout out to my nigga SwishOut, bro.
Directly after...
Cause niggas don't really talk about Kobe like that. Like, actually what he been through. Like, bro, what else, nigga, you know, who was the second option, but really just 1B. It's 1A and it's 1B. Cause don't act like this nigga wasn't putting up identical numbers like Shaq. Maybe not as in rebounds and shit like that, but he was definitely putting up 30, 27, you know what I'm saying? How the fuck you think Shaq won, bro? Some games, Kobe was like, hey, man, I got you, bro. Don't even worry about it. Straight up, bro. Shit, Kobe had to play his role. He was a youngin', you know what I'm saying? He was a youngin'. Prime Shaq, bro. We ain't talking about no, what's a good Jason Tatum type player, like a superstar, like a low superstar. We talking about a superstar, like international. And you a youngin', you a 22-year-old Kobe Bryant, just now getting off the 6-man role. Like, bro, think about that shit, bro.
Caron Butler got traded for Kwame. He had his 3 best seasons of his career with Washington and made 2 consecutive All-Star games. Then in 06. Just like post-KD, OKC turned into the OKC Westbrooks, the Lakers kind of turned into the LA Kobe's, and every night with no expectations was pretty much the Kobe show. That season, with after trading Caron Butler, their 3rd best...
And that's without the 3-ball inflation and shit like that, bro. 35 points a game. Don't ever compare James Harden no motherfucking Kobe Bryant when it comes to scoring, bro. Real talk. I'm tired of it. I like James Harden, but he ain't Kobe. He ain't Dwayne Wade.
Player literally being between Kwame Brown, Smush Parker, and Bryant Cook. Kobe took 27 shots a night. That's still the 3rd most ever. Look at this man's
my
season
nigga Kobe,
highs that
man.
year. Just look at him. No one else.
And on my mama, he wasn't inefficient. He ain't no inefficient. He a volume scorer, but he was never inefficient. I promise you that, nigga. All y'all motherfuckers talking about, man, he had 30 points, but he put up 30 shots. All that hating ass, goofy ass shit, bro.
Else on the team scored 30 points in a game. Now, yes, sure, it was
Man,
fun.
R.I.P.
And
Kobe,
obviously
bro.
Right now, it's historically great to
Let me
look
get
back
y'all out
on.
my business.
But at the time, these insane scoring outages and these crazy scoring streaks, it actually flipped into critiques of Kobe when his team
R.I.P. my
really
nigga.
couldn't prevail. In 2 straight playoff years without Shaq, and obviously it wasn't Kobe's fault. The Shaq trade completely depleted their roster, and the Kwame Brown trade didn't help. But in 2 straight playoff years, look at everything Kobe had accomplished himself, and look at where it got the Los Angeles Lakers. Nowhere.
Bro, he ain't know how to lead a team. Who did he have to lead? What kind of talent did he have to lead? You know what I'm saying? In a Western Conference. Not an Eastern Conference. You know what I mean?
You can drop prices automatically.
Like, come on, bro.
I can show you how, but I can't do it for you.
In 06, in the first round, after being up 3-1
Then you
against
had the
Phoenix,
Dallas, the
they blow that
Nuggets.
lead, and Charles Barkley and many
Fucking
others
everybody.
accused Kobe of quitting and kind of pouting after
Phoenix.
people said he really didn't pass. And then in 07, they get destroyed by the exact same team when Amari Stoudemire came back. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. While all this is happening to Kobe, the league is moving on. Shaq just won another championship. LeBron just made his first finals at 22 and emerged as a legitimate candidate for the best player on the planet. Tim Duncan just won his 4th championship and passed Kobe. So it looked like Kobe was kind of getting boxed in as this cancerous teammate that didn't elevate anybody else on his team, and most definitely couldn't win a championship without Shaq. Even Lakers fans back then, a lot of them weren't too fond of Kobe because they felt like he destroyed their dynasty for his own benefit. Then after 3 forgettable years after Shaq left, he wanted out after they just gave him a 7-year, $136 million contract with a no-trade clause.
Walking into the season, looking at the way things transpired throughout this offseason, what was your attitude like coming into this season?
I was ready to go. I was ready to play. And when trade talks come up, obviously it can be a distraction. I mean, we've seen other teams be extremely affected by that. But I was more than pleased to see us be able to focus and rally around it. And I wanted to be here. I want to be here, but it's just a tough situation for me to be here. And it's that simple.
Now, the trade request didn't do anything. The Lakers obviously didn't trade Kobe, but it wasn't like Kobe didn't want it. In the midst of that 07 trade request for Kobe, there was even a video of Kobe talking to a fan, pretty much trashing his GM Mitch Kupchak for not trading for Jason Kidd, and even hitting Andrew Bynum with a few strays in the process.
Bryant, my legs. Fuck, are you kidding me?
And he's the one that drafted Bynum, so he's not gonna let him go.
Fucking ship his ass up. You talking about Jason Kidd, but he didn't want to do that.
They think Andrew Bynum's gonna be.
So now we sit here in this fucked up position.
What's Andrew?
Now, Kobe kind of made it seem like it was easy to go back talking to Phil Jackson. They worked some things through and all that. But it couldn't have been easy. Like, he had to swallow a lot of pride. In the first game, the season opener of the new season, playing in front of your home crowd in LA, Kobe was booed. He was literally booed by his own fans.
If you take a look at our opening lineups tonight, of course, Doug, the big story here, Kobe Bryant, who was booed when he was announced to the crowd moments ago.
No, it wasn't like Kobe came back because things got better. They didn't make life-changing moves that offseason. They didn't have a Kyrie. They didn't have a Ben Simmons.
Exactly.
Kobe came back to this. Nobody in their right mind would have thought the Lakers.
Look up Derek Fisher. I know he's from Little Rock. He don't come back to Little Rock, so it really don't even matter. I was with some old homies back at from middle school. We went to the gym and hooped or whatever. I ran into him, and I remember we was just making jokes and shit about Derek Fisher. I said, bro, look up some Derek Fisher highlights and see what you get. I want y'all to do that for me. That's all I gotta say.
Lakers would make the finals. Look at the preseason odds. They had them as the 16th team to win it, literally with the bottom half of the league. The Lakers season starts exactly how you would expect with that roster. They're 9-8, 1 game above 500 after 17 games. But then the player that Kobe wanted gone, he starts to develop, and he actually becomes a huge piece in the next chapter of Kobe's career. Andrew Bynum started that season playing much better on both sides, and his improvement significantly helped the Lakers. But then he did.
And why isn't the old 9 and 10 Lakers still not in 2K? Like, that's the real question. I've been waiting for like 4 years.
dislocated his knee in January, and he never came back. Now,
Yeah, he's real injury prone.
Andrew Bynum was averaging a double-double with 2 blocks at 20 years old. The Lakers were the 3rd seed, something that nobody's seen. Kobe was trusting his teammates much more than he ever did, only averaging 26 points with nearly 4 teammates averaging double figures. That Andrew Bynum injury has to be one of the most bittersweet injuries of all time. It definitely hurt them that season, specifically in the finals against Boston. But it's also what edged them to go get Pau Gasol, which at the time seemed like a highway robbery. They got off of Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol. Immediately after getting Pau Gasol, the Lakers finished their season 22-5, got the #1 seed, swept the Nuggets, beat Utah in the second round in just 6 games, and destroyed the defending champion Spurs in the Western Conference Finals in a gentleman's sweep. Now, I want people to truly understand how great that run was. The Lakers made the finals in a Western Conference where literally every team that made the playoffs won 50 games. The Lakers were playing without Andrew Bynum that postseason, newly acquired Trevor Ariza that definitely could have helped, and Pau Gasol, who literally played a third of the season, only 27 games, and they made the finals. That roster wasn't stacked. Like, they started Vladimir Radovich.
Thank you. Like, let's not act like the Lakers was a super team, bro. The second best player, and I love Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol is like a Bradley Beal, as far as like he an all-star, but he ain't a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't. You know what I mean? Like, bro, Kobe did this, bro. I hate how they don't give him the respect. You know what I'm saying? Now the new age and shit like that. Everybody grew up on LeBron. I grew up on LeBron mostly. You know what I'm saying? I watched, you know what I'm saying? But Kobe was my guy. Like, I remember reading a book about that nigga when I was in elementary. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was born in 99, so I was watching this Kobe right here. And then LeBron started coming up. I'm like, man, this is the reason why I don't like LeBron. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, bro. Cause when LeBron started coming up, I actually liked LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But when, you know, say Kobe was getting a little older and shit, it's like when they trying to bring up another player, somebody got to get tarnished, or you know what I mean. So that was Kobe. When they was bringing LeBron up, they were talking shit about Kobe, and Kobe was getting older and older, and LeBron was getting better, and you know what I'm saying, he was entering his prime, and you know what I'm saying. And I just started hating that shit, but of course I appreciate LeBron now because it won't be another one like him. But
Ivanovic, who probably couldn't guard me. Now remember when I said Kobe was the villain of the league? Bro, I did not exaggerate. Like, you can really see how much a person is hated with how they're treated when they're down. And bro, they kicked the hell out of this man after just winning his first MVP and dragging that team to the finals. They didn't care. Shaq obviously made this rap. Bleacher Report, bro, I don't know what Kobe did to them back then. I don't know if he didn't invest in them or he didn't believe. I don't know what it was.
Bro, he was just to himself, bro. Kobe Bryant was an introvert, bro. He was a youngin'. He came in the league young as hell, so he had nothing to do but hoop. And he always worked. He always was at the gym, so that's how he carried himself throughout his whole career. That was his habit, just working hard. And he really ain't fuck with too many motherfuckers, bro. So that rubbed motherfuckers out the wrong way. He wasn't taking no shit. It was pretty simple. So some motherfuckers didn't like him. Everybody ain't finna be no Shaq and just be all up in motherfuckers' faces and yada yada rah rah. Everybody ain't like that, bro. That's why motherfuckers hate Kobe. And if man, I love Kobe, man.
Stand Kobe back then.
For real,
Every single bad article
bro.
I found about Kobe at that time.
Man, imagine me being little as hell, motherfuckers. Who your favorite basketball player, youngin? Kobe Bryant. Oh, he ain't shit. Man, I can't stand Kobe. You know, in the laughing matter, you know, they want, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Kobe, man, he ain't nothing. He ain't shit. You know what I mean? For real.
By them. After Kobe lost that finals, a Bleacher Report writer wrote a detailed article explaining why Kobe should have never won that MVP. And reading it 15, 14 years later, it felt personal. I ain't gonna lie. They didn't just stop there. Like, George Castillo, I'm gonna call this writer out by name because his definitely sounded personal. He wrote an article explaining everything the 08 finals proved. And this is just some of the stuff he said, and I quote, "There's only one Mike. Just to clarify, Kobe Bryant is not on MJ's level, and he will never be. He may resemble MJ's size, leaping ability, and jumper, but I don't remember him bitching like someone canceled a teenage girl's cell phone bill.
God,
Kobe
damn.
motivates his teammates by bashing and bitching at them. Phil Jackson can't work the magic with Kobe like he did with MJ. He went on to say something about that. Like I said, George Castillo, this just felt personal. I ain't gonna lie to you. Then in
Bitch ass
09,
nigga.
you know how Michael Jordan lost in 94-95 to the Magic after retiring and coming back, and he came back that following season and won 72 games, and they had the greatest season of all time and all that? This kind of felt like that year for Kobe. The Lakers came back full.
It's time to take action. Start by talking to your doctor to see if Descovy is right for you. Whether you and your doctor
fully healthy with Andrew Bynum and Pau Gasol there now, something that we didn't see the year prior. And they won 17 out of their first 19 games. 65 games total, which was their third best ever. And Kobe won his first championship without Shaq. During that finals run, and I think it's vastly underrated and people don't talk about this enough, Kobe had to play Shane Battier and Ron Artest, two of the best wing defenders in the league. It took him 7 games to beat them, but he beat them. Then he had to play in the Western Conference Finals against Carmelo, and he literally had his greatest series of his career to make his second straight finals. To me, that was equivalent to what LeBron did in 2012 against Boston. Remember, Kobe at that time was ringless without Shaq. LeBron at that time was ringless, period. Kobe had just lost in the finals against Boston. LeBron had just lost in the finals against Dallas. Like, it was a lot weighing on that Western Conference Finals, and Kobe had his best series of his career. Then, in the finals, he played the best defensive team in the league and the best three-point shooting team in the league. That team was way ahead of its time. In today's era, that's a recipe for a championship.
Turkaloo was that nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Turkaloo was a bad motherfucker,
winning
boy.
his 4th championship. Then he followed that up by going back-to-back for the first time since he did it 8 years prior, winning the West with the first seed for the 3rd consecutive year, and most importantly, defeating every bad narrative written about him. Yeah, George Castillo, yeah.
We know what it means as a team, but what about individually for you?
Just got one more than Shaq.
Talk that shit,
So you can
bro.
take that to the bank.
Take that to the motherfucking bank, man. Like, for real. For real.
You know how I am. You guys know how I am.
And after that, Shaq tried to go to Boston to ring chase real quick to try to tie up and shit. Man, my mama, man, stop playing.
Bringing it all the way back to KD. Now that he's going back to the Brooklyn Nets, he's pretty much in the exact same situation Kobe was 15 years ago. But at least, like I said, he's going back to Ben Simmons and Kyrie. Kobe went back to a mess, and luckily it panned out for him.
Man, shout out to SwishOut, man. I just, you know, I kind of paused a lot and shit like that, bro. Just when it come to Kobe, bro, it's real emotional for me, you know what I'm saying? Cause you just certain celebrities you just can't talk shit about around me. And that's Kobe Bryant and Pac. Really? So, yeah, man, I know I did a lot of pause. I know it's my shit anyway, but I know how y'all be feeling sometimes. Shit, if y'all like the video, man, like the video, comment, subscribe, and shout out to SwishOut, man. I fuck with you, bro. And I appreciate you for really, cause ain't a lot of motherfuckers watch after bro posted this shit. Watch how everybody gonna try to start deep diving in Kobe Bryant career for real. Cause everybody talk about Bryant, everybody talk about KD, everybody talk about Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Motherfuckers they like, or who is really likable. But man, Kobe Bryant accomplished, man, and them MVPs. They gave that shit to Steve Nash, man, who was averaging like 14 points a game. But anyways, I'ma fuck with y'all, bro. I'm out of here.